Cinematography. Cinematography can be defined as the art of photography and camera work in filmmaking, which essentially it is, a range of camera techniques like camera movements, shot types and framing, coming together and turning films from a technical marvel into an art form and means of expression. The combination of camera movements and shot types turn a scene from being boring and emotionless, leaving the audience feeling like an outsider, into a scene filled with, in this case, slightly more action. But with a sprinkle of post-production magic, the scene becomes even more immersive and entertaining. Now, enough of that. Moving on to the shot types. A tracking movement is when the camera moves back and forwards along the y-axis. Tracking is used to better show the speed at which a subject is moving and to show their movements in greater detail. In a scene where a subject is running, the camera would usually be situated directly behind or in front of the character, closely following them behind. This movement type is used commonly during action or horror movies, to create tension or to better show the audience exactly what the character is going through. A crab movement is when the camera moves left and right along the x-axis. It's used to show more of a setting or multiple characters in a scene, rather than the camera staying focused on a single area. It's also used commonly during scenes where a character is running, in order to track their action and give a feeling of being alongside the character. Used commonly in all types of media. Whether that's sport commercials, action movies, it can be used to show greater detail and exaggerate the subject's movements. A pan movement is when the camera rotates left and right. Used most commonly to show a subject moving around a scene, a pan can be used in place of a cut and camera position change, turning the scene from the usual, featuring cuts and transitions, into a scene that feels as if it's one shot, making it feel more real and immersive. A pan can be used in collaboration with a range of other techniques to within itself become a transition between scenes. A pedestal movement is when the camera moves up and down vertically, used to show more of a scene or as a transition between a shot low to the ground and then one further up. This camera movement is used less commonly to add emotion and tension, and more commonly as an opening shot for a scene. As well as an opening shot, a pedestal movement can also sometimes be used as a gateway for a jump scare or pivotal moment in the scene. A tilt movement is when the camera quite literally tilts up and down. The camera stays in a fixed position whilst the point along the z-axis that the camera is focused on changes. This movement is used often to show the entirety of a character, whilst keeping everything about to show up in focus still in the frame. Tilts are used commonly in collaboration with pedestals to create rising action, or to show the entirety of a character's body in detail. An arc movement is when the camera moves around the subject in a curve. This movement is versatile and used commonly in many applications, whether that's in a scene where a subject is running up flights of stairs or rotating around a character in order to show more of the character's surroundings while still keeping the subject in focus. Although less of a camera movement and more of a stabilization technique, or lack thereof, handheld is when the scene is filmed as if the camera is being held by the cameraman. This makes the scene feel more real and significantly more immersive, as if the audience is directly in place of the camera. This technique is used often during horror or action movies, where the scene is meant to feel like it was filmed by the character on their phone, or as if the audience is running behind the character. Steadicam or stabilize refers to the stabilization technique where the camera is attached to some sort of stabilization gimbal that allows the scene to be filmed where the camera is moving but stays smooth and free from shakes and natural hand tremors. This is used often in all types of media and all types of film. Although not usually used to add or take away from effect, stabilized camera keeps the viewer immersed in whatever they're watching and doesn't take the viewer's attention away from the characters in scene with aggressive shakes and distractions, but instead allows the emotion to be created within the scene and characters, not from the cinematography techniques. A crane movement is when the camera is lifted into the air and supported there by a crane rig. This most often produces a smooth and stable shot that is used to shoot characters moving through multiple levels of elevation, or to allow a character to be shot from a consistent high angle. A crane movement combined with a high angle or bird's eye makes the subject feel small and inferior, and when none of the characters surrounding can be seen, it makes the character seem completely isolated. A zoom movement is less of a movement and more of a lens adjustment. Zooming in and zooming out works by changing the distance between lenses within the lens group. Zooming allows the camera to show its subject in more detail without actually moving the position of the camera. This movement technique is used often in action movies when a character is looking through binoculars or a rifle scope, looking at a target in the distance. And with that, it concludes the video showing all of the movement techniques. I hope you enjoyed.